Morning, everybody. Thursday morning. Welcome in. It's the Bonnet Brothers Thursday for you. Bring them on in. Bring them on in. Rick Blaze, what's up? Good morning. How we doing, baby? How we doing?
Marsh, hey, I love you, man.
We're looking good. We're like the
I
same.
love it,
We're the
man. You look
same.
good. Hey, this is your look, bro. This
I
is the
understand.
look.
I'm not in a Versace like you, but
But
I get
you
it.
look Picasso-ish, the way you have the whole
Yeah,
form of
right.
the body.
Yeah, I don't have quite as much
I
hair to
love it,
hold that
man.
up.
I love it, man. It kind of looked like some draws at the same time of your head, but we digress.
Who said it's
I
not?
love
Who
the
says
attempt.
it's not?
I'm ready to start the show.
All right, good morning. It is Thursday, April 25th. This is SimWorld today. I'm Marsh. That's Rick over there. We are the Bonnet Brothers today.
The Bonnet
Big
Brothers.
night last night in SimWorld BA. We got some stunning stuff happening on the show. We got some stunning stuff that happened in Boston where the Miami Heat took down the Boston Celtics to even their Eastern Conference first round series. 23 made three-pointers for Miami. They win without Jimmy Butler, without Terry Rozier. This team just is the kryptonite to the Boston Celtics, but it's kind of the reason why people continue to not believe in Boston, Rick.
They wet the bed. I mean, there's no other way to put this. You're talking about you're at home. You got a chance to go up a definitive 2-0 going to Miami, and you're going against a Miami team who doesn't have their best player and whose team has just been struggling overall. I don't know if it's so kryptonite or if I don't know if we got to just give it up. And like Pedro Martinez used to say, Yankees are my daddy. I think the Boston Celtics might have said, man, the Miami Heat is my daddy. I think Spoelstra, when they see those guys in green, nothing about them gets intimidated or scared or run. And as a result, this Miami team came in and stole. I mean, put on a ski mask and stole a win out there in Boston, and that's ridiculous.
You hit it on the head. I mean, I think if he's never going to get it every single season, but Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in SWBA because he's able to put his team in situations consistently, despite being understaffed, despite being perceived to be knocked out. This team just continues to rise up and make things difficult. And this is a huge win for Miami, not only in the fact that they keep this series alive for at least a game five, potentially an opportunity to open the door to get Jimmy Butler back in, which I think he's still probably not going to come back, but there's a chance now for him to do that. But it also continues to say this is why Boston is such a challenging team to believe in. This happened last season when they faced Atlanta in the first round. They acted as if this was just going to be an easy run, and then we've seen Atlanta, who they truly are this season, but they pushed them in that series to make that more than it needed to. That's not what you should do. This is the one series in the first round of the SWBA that was supposed to be decided, that shouldn't have any drama. Maybe the other one is the second game from last night, but this was the one we're good, right? All right, it's going to be Boston, 5 or 6. It still probably will be Boston in 5 or 6, but you can't lose game 2 at home. This should have been a game 4 loss that Boston suffers, but now here they are. They're going to have to keep battling, and you've done the worst thing, which is give Miami more confidence. And that's where they've strived, when they believe to be knocked down and they can come back and roll into it. Our second game was not nearly as thrilling as the Oklahoma City Thunder blast the New Orleans Pelicans in the nightcap of a lighter first round. This is what I think everybody did expect. New Orleans without Zion Williamson is impressive that they got here. It's impressive that game 1 was competitive in that series, but that reeks of a game in which a young Oklahoma City squad was just kind of figuring out the playoff scenario before really jumping in and taking over.
Without Williamson, there's no advantage for the Pelicans on pretty much any position. Williamson was that much of a difference maker. He at least made you stay honest when it comes to the Pelicans. They got the veterans like McCollum, and they got some guys that play hard. Murphy plays well, but Oklahoma City is just too stacked, man, from top to bottom. And they're a wiry team, they're an athletic team. They're gonna get up and run, and they just apply too much pressure for a team like the Pelicans. Hey, we see how the Pelicans got in, right? They got in this way for a reason. They obviously wasn't the favorites coming in, and Oklahoma City is running it up as they should.
I think that's the best thing and the worst thing about the play. And the best part of it is that we are seeing entertaining basketball to get into the playoffs. But I think we see some of these teams and we start to maybe try to talk ourselves into them because they beat two other mediocre teams, or maybe just one if they're in the case of the Lakers. But you play teams that aren't that great, you beat them, and suddenly we're like, oh wow, maybe they could get rolling. But this was a huge game for Chet and SGA. This was what if Oklahoma City is going to be a legitimate contender. This is who they're going to have to rely on, and their two young stars looked exactly like that last night. They were dominant. The one challenge that the Thunder had in Game 1 was the size inside of Jonas Valanciunas. He had 20 boards in that Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
They responded in this one. They responded to be able to play a competitive game of basketball, not only inside but throughout, and that obviously ends up making this thing what it was, a 20-plus point game. That's who Oklahoma City has been. You're right. They've been this team that has been not so quietly the top 4 team in the Western Conference, obviously, all season, but also one that we just tended to not believe in, not want to believe in because of the age portion of it. And this, I think, is actually probably the best first-round matchup they could get out of all of them, because you're getting a very flawed and understaffed team without Zion Williamson. Because if Zion's out there, this is completely different. If it's a 40-point version that he was putting up against Los Angeles in the first game of the play-in, I think that the Thunder would be in major trouble because of their lack of size inside, because SGA, because Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, they're just not going to be able to hang with the physicality that Zion brings. Without him there, and you've got Brandon Ingram, who looks like he's ready to take a nap at any point in time, there's just not the aggression of this group. Do you think from these are two top seeds they played last night, do you believe either of them aren't going to advance? I mean, Oklahoma City up 2-0 now, Boston up 1 or tied 1-1. Do you still believe that it's going to be the one seeds advancing in these rounds?
Yes, yeah. I don't. I think if Boston loses this series, this will be the biggest letdown in sports history. Uh, So I don't see Boston seeing that. Oklahoma City is a younger team, so you think they may have mental lapses, but they're up 2-0. They're giving themselves a little cushion to drop a game or two back in New Orleans. But I firmly believe both teams to win this series. But before we close that out, I have to I gotta give the Oklahoma City, I gotta give the dogs a little action. That's for my dog.
The dogs in Oklahoma City?
The dogs. It's for my dog. It's for my dog.
Are you talking to somebody specifically here? You just
All
got
my
some dogs
dogs.
out in OKC?
All my dogs, baby. They know who they are. All my
Okay.
dogs. All my dogs everywhere. OKC, KFC. Don't matter. All my dogs everywhere.
All right. Hello to Rick's dogs. We'll head to SimWorld Prep, where we had a loaded slate of action last night, but none bigger than the SimWorld Prep Game of the Week. Beast of the East, Ill-a-delphia. Ill-a-delphia reigns supreme, 69-60. They don't lose a single quarter of this one, Rick. They win ticker to ticker. Big night from Monte Parson, 20 points, 10 boards. Jay Mills, shocking, gets 17 points in 17 minutes. The torch off the bench. Huge win for Ill-a-delphia. I don't think this should be shocking that they can pull a win like this, considering their 12-game winning streak. But a big win to continue to prove from an Ill-a-delphia standpoint they are legitimate and they are a dangerous team come the race one.
Yep. I mean, I believe I called it yesterday. I put it in the threads. I said this is a revenge game. Philadelphia, they lost to Beast of the East earlier this season. I believe that might have been the game their coach was suspended. But it still counted as a loss. And I knew Coach Dries. I know Coach Dries' type. I know those types. Those types, they like pit bulls. They latch on. They don't want to let go. So I knew he was coming to this game with a little extra motivation because he wanted to show that, hey, he can compete with the best of them and he can get them a dub of his good friend and coach as well, Coach Drake. Great game. I had Illy getting this done the whole time, and I'm glad to see that I was right.
This is the type of game, if you're Beast of the East. Now, I'm not here to say the sky is falling, because it's not. I still really do believe in that team to be a contender. Obviously, we're going to lose one of these teams in the Founders region just based off the way the Race to One bracket will play out. But this is one of the reasons why, if you look at all the contenders, you could talk yourself out of Beast of the East because you say, well, we don't have a star that we can turn to in the same way that Ill-a-delphia has Nas Hall and Monte Parson. We are very reliant on our team just playing great defense. And if our offense doesn't come around and all of our pieces don't work in the way that we want them to, this team has the propensity to get upset. I mean, Tyree Moy takes the most shots. He goes 4 of 14. Kasim Porter Jr., 4 of 12. Losi Thomas, 4 of 10. Those guys are good basketball players, and they have the opportunities, and they've had moments where they've had really big games. But they're not Monte Parson, Nas Hall, who had 14. Those guys who you expect to be really big contributors, Rick. You expect them to go off and carry an offense to be able to anchor a defense. I don't know that there's the same confidence in the players in Beast of the East in the same way that you look around the roster at some of these other top players. Again, not to say they can't win it. They obviously 18-7. They're very much a real contender. But if you want to start talking yourself into reasons why maybe they can't win it, that continues to be the one to fall back on.
But why would you want to talk yourself into? Wait, I don't want to go that far. I don't want to talk myself into saying that Beast of the East, the champs, by the way, put some respect on the champs'
I picked
name,
them.
Marsh.
I picked them. There's a lot of respect.
Until they have lost the championship, they are still the champs. Now, Coach Drake does a really good job of drumming up his game plans. They don't have a Monte Parson, but they have
That's all
a
I'm saying.
couple guys. They have a couple guys who can get it done. Color can get it done. I'm very high on Kasim Porter. He plays the fallback point guard position. We've seen Moy get it done. It's about scheme with this team. They don't like you said. They don't. They kind of more like the Detroit Pistons, the championship Detroit Pistons. They don't have any glaring all sorts, but they have a bunch of really good players that play really well together. That schemes really good together. I think they have enough. Again, that region is going to be uh, a slobber knockle, so to speak. But I think they have enough. I don't count Beast of the East out. They are the champs. In order to be the man, you have to first beat the man, and they haven't lost in the race to one yet.
Can you say that for me again? Slobber what?
Knuckle.
And we got a first sponsor of
There
SimWorld
we go.
today.
There we
It's a big
go.
ass bonnet. Just go
Let's
out
do
get
it.
yours at all major retailers. Don't sweat. There's I don't know if he's got a big ass bonnet, but he got a bonnet on. All right, let's go into our SimWorld prep recap from yesterday. We'll start Lone Star and Europe. Big night. Arthur Lattimore, 19 points. Trey Bird, 7 assists as Lone Star Basketball Club gets the W, 69-64. An entertaining one. Trey Bird goes with 11. Matthew Mozgov goes for 11. 10 points from Mason Green. On the other side, from the SimWorld Europe squad, Andrei Ivanov, 20 points. They held Ivan Suslov in check. 14 points in that one. He shoots 7 of 9, so it's not as if he didn't play well, Rick. But he at least wasn't scoring 20 pieces well in what was a competitive game, but ultimately won in the second quarter for SimWorld Europe. They scored just 8 points, kind of what drowned them in that one, Rick.
Yeah, hey, and I like to see the bird get loose, baby. Now he's not Larry, but he may be his brother Bob. He could be Bob Bird, or he can be Trey Bird, right? With a great game, 11 points, 7 assists, making sure you're making it happen. So good job for Lone Star to get a dub. Can I get the next team?
Yeah, let's keep rolling. Yes.
Rainy Trades get the dub over Gotham 5. Jafet Towns does what Jafet Towns does. And, of course, they're led by him, so he does the same. They get the dub.
ATS, otherwise known as Atlantis, 16th win of the season, 70-63. Bjarni Johnson, 17 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, coming on the heels of one E-Lava, picking them to win the Intercontinental regular season region crown.
That's not a bad choice. We talked about Beast of the East already losing to Ill-a-delphia. So I'm going to go with the tour continues, Marsh. The Tour continues. The Middle East tour continues as they put a shellacking. Another word for the day. Down on the Heartland Zombies, 83-68. SimWorld Middle East tour continues. Stand the F up.
Yeah, they are second half. They say, you want to close us out. We don't think so. How about Asia Pacific and H-Town? 20 points, 4 boards from Almighty Soul, enough to outdo Kai Newby's 22. Leonardo Fields' 17. Vincent Magic, 4 assists. The assist man continues to do it. 80-73 H-Town win.
Best Coast Ballers in the Nightcap wins over Showtime. Went enough Showtime in LA. Best Coast 79-68, led by my guy Suno Chopper style.
That was our wrap up of Wednesday night. We've got a hiatus of Thursday and Friday, but SimWorld Prep Reaction Action returns Saturday, April 27th, 11 a.m. Middle East. Can they keep their run going? They're going to be facing a
Tour
tough one
continues
against Beasts of the East. That is not going to be an easy one for a SimWorld Middle East team that's won 3 of their last 5. And then, of course, at 1 o'clock, Lakeshore Drive, Run DMV going to town in Bethesda, Maryland. Run DMV, Cam Jones, some Joe out of Lakeshore Drive as the Lakeshore Drive squad trying to right the ship after a 4-game losing streak. That is our show. We will be back tomorrow, Friday, recapping all things SimWorld BA as a bigger plate of playoff hoops comes our way. That's been Rick. I've been Marsh. We've been the Bonnet Brothers on this Thursday. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.